So just a few of the practical issues. First of all, I'm a veterinary inspector at the border control post in Dublin Port at T10. So would see a lot of the practical issues that are coming in with these consignments that tend to cause some of the delays in the consignments clearing the checks and getting out of the port. And one of them Dave touched on was the shed P's not being created, but the add-on issue that we would see from that is that the APHID entry would not be created there. So we will have consignments that the sheds are there, the health certificates are there, but if the APHID has not been completed, then it's more difficult for DAFM staff to find that and to be able to perform those checks because that's how we are notified. The clerical staff will be notified that there is a consignment there that's in the system, and if we don't have that, we will have consignments arriving at T7 and documentary checks have not been performed because we were not aware of the arrival of this consignment. So using the APHID portal and the INIS portal is really critical for us to be able to complete those documentary checks ahead of time. Again, for loads that have multiple health certificates, we may have a situation where if we would commonly see this, where we will have multiple health certs. For instance, there could be 7 health certs on a load and 7 sheds, but only 5 APHID entries where that's been applicable. And again, in those instances, we aren't aware of these, and we're handed health certs that we have are able to show the documentary checks have not been performed, and then rather than being able to do the seal check at T7 and send it on quickly, we have to divert that trailer down to T10 to be able to perform the documentary checks. And hopefully there's nothing, again, if there's anything untoward with them, any issues need to be cleared up, then that again will delay things. Whereas if we've been aware of it the 24 hours previously, we would hopefully have been able to clarify any documentary issues and get things moving more quickly. Trailers that don't have seals, it's not a legal requirement for these, except in specific circumstances, for seals to be in place. But if there are seals there, then we are able to perform the seal check in most circumstances at T7 and get them moving more quickly. If there isn't a seal in place, we don't have an option but to perform the identity check down at T10 because there is a legal obligation on us. 100% identity checks are required on these goods. We have to perform these, and if at all possible, if seals can be provided and the details are recorded on the health cert and then on the shed, we're able to get things moving more quickly. One specific issue would be in dealing with the SFPA, where CAT certs and processing certs would not be supplied to the SFPA in time. So DAFM will have performed all our checks on the health certificates and the sheds, but the IUU clearance is delayed and DAFM are not able to process those consignments and perform the identity checks and validate the sheds until the SFPA can give those clearance. So again, getting those documents into the SFPA in time is critical also. If the drivers are not able to easily locate the health certificates, so the declaration for the hay or straw would be an example for this. We've had instances where trailers have arrived up at T10, we've opened them up, the health certs aren't available, we've been contacting the agents, and then after a couple of hours, we get the driver is able to locate the documents on board, but it has just led to those unnecessary delays. So having those documents easily available is really important as well. So one other issue that we've seen quite a bit of now is in relation to the private attestation, which is the document that has to be completed by the importer for certain composite products. And this has been necessary since April, when the regulations changed around the import of these composite products. And one that we would see that just leads to, it's really just unnecessary work that again can delay it, is we have exempt products that are included on the shed P. So there's a list of very specific composite products that are exempt from official checks at the border control post. And if products are coming in, qualifying products coming in under that CN code, we don't need to see them. So the shed doesn't need to be generated. And the checks will occur at the place of destination on a risk basis. But we're performing checks on products that don't need them. And leading on from that, then we will have products that the CN codes aren't even listed as being applicable to composite products. And I just give you the specific regulation there, 2019-65, and Article 12 of that lists your CN codes and tells you these are composite products. These are CN codes that composite products can come in under. If the CN code isn't listed there, there's different legislation applies to that. A private attestation isn't suitable. So one little thing again is that we would see that the shed P and the private attestation, the operator responsible for the consignment will differ there. We will have, for instance, something I've encountered, we'll have an Irish RFC listed on the shed P and a German RFC, the agent responsible for a consignment, listed on the PA, not even from the same company. And staffing will mainly be dealing, in terms of getting any issues with consignments sorted and under control, we'll be dealing with the RFC. And if two people are being listed, it makes it more difficult, leads to more delays. So again, it's just a simple thing, just make sure that those details match between your two documents. Weight issues as well, where maybe the gross weight won't be included, we don't get them matching entirely. It may be that products are listed on the PA that aren't listed on the shed P. This leads to discrepancies. So again, it's just tightening all of those things up. Batch number issues, where the batch numbers that are listed on the PA won't match what it is when we perform identity checks, which we'll be doing on a percentage basis on some of these consignments. And if those batch numbers don't match, that's a significant identity issue. And again, that can take time to get sorted. So having the document right in the first place leads to, will help us to process these more efficiently. If the second page, one thing that we're encountering quite a bit of is on parts 4 and 5 of the private attestation, which relates to the ingredients list for the product and for the approved established, particularly in part 4, which is you are required to list in descending percentage the products of animal origin and the plant products that are included in that product. Now, we have no problem and no issues at all with grouping that. So it's no problem to list the plant products that are in it and say that it's 70%. You don't need to individually say the wheat flour is this percent and the olive oil is this percentage. But if we can group them all, then we'll know that, and then just individually list, or even within a range for the products of animal origin that are there. But we do have private attestations that will only list the products of animal origin, make no reference to the plant products. And by definition, composite products contain plant products, and it is required to include that. But as I say, the groupage of that is perfectly acceptable. There is a lot of information available on the DAFN website as well on importing composite products. And point 9 there about the private attestation gives a lot of specific information about how to complete that, what should be going into each box on the attestation. So if you read that, it'll help you with a lot of the problems that we encounter. Okay, thank you for that.